Warning: the following podcast, which contains strong language and mature content, is unsuitable for children or for the faint of heart. The subject matter discussed will be frightening and graphic in nature. Listener discretion is advised.
When you wanna hear about the paranormal, you get the Spooked Girls. True crime that makes you hypothermal. With the 3 Spooked Girls, stabby snippets will give you dreams. Tara and Jessica will make you along with the Spooked Girls. Bring on the slaughter, we on that haunted ground. The 3 Spooked Girls.
Hey Spooksters, and welcome back to another episode here on 3 Spooked Girls. My name is Tara, and as always, I'm here with my girlfriend, Jessica.
Hello.
Hello. I'm going to apologize for my voice. We just recorded, in case you missed it, yesterday's Social Seance episode was featuring me. So we recorded for like 2 hours and my voice is like shot, but we're here and I'm still a little sick, but it's okay. So as you guys can tell by the title, we are going to dive into Maine's urban legends today. But before we get started, returning Spooksters, welcome back. If this is your first time checking out the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We are so happy to have you here with us. If you would like to hang out with us on social media, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, all the places. Our handle is at 3 Spooked Girls, and you can find everything in the link tree, everything retaining to us, retaining our second show, all the good stuff for you. If you would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/3 Spooked Girls. For as little as $1, we do 1 bonus episode a month. Those are so fun, our all-tier episodes. They are some of my favorites because we literally just surprise each other most of the time, because me and Jessica alternate who decides what the episode is, and most of the time we're blind. The other person's blind. They just show up.
Like if we're in recording and I'm like, today we're doing, and then there's a pause to make sure the other person's like, okay, I'm cool with it.
Unless it's like a recap, but like, yeah, most of the time we don't know. We did Mad Libs, we've done Find Your Adventures. You know, we do some true crime and spooky topics sometimes, but most of the time we kind of just let it be fun. So if you'd like to support the show, you can check that out. And 5 and Up gets ad-free episodes. So if that is your jam, definitely check it out. And if you are a reader, you can join our book club, Spookster Literary Society. When you guys hear this, we will be having a meeting in a couple days. We typically have our virtual meetings the last Sunday of the month, dependent on like holidays and stuff. We kind of move it around. This month is going to be our first time trying out our meeting in Discord, because we made a giant Discord server with all things us. So the show's book club. So if you would like to hang out and talk about books, come over there. This month we are reading Stephen King novels. Our feminine rage read was Carrie, and our main read is Salem's Lot, which just purchased the audiobook. I like to live dangerously, and I either pick the feminine rage read or the main read. I'll read it like the week of the meeting, so I remember it. So I'm excited. I read reviews that the audiobook was really great, so I'm looking forward to being entertained and checking that out. Plus Salem's Lot is vampires, and I'm a vampire girly, so I'm here for this. But with that, we're going to go ahead and just jump on into what urban legends I found today. So I'm just convinced at this point, every coastal state or state with lakes has their own Nessie, because the very first thing I found, yes, theirs is called Cassie the Casco Bay Sea Serpent. And Cassie is described as having an elongated brontosaurus-like neck with black and brown mottled coat, like a seal or a flounder. But isn't a flounder like the fish from like Little Mermaid?
Yeah, but they're brown.
They're brown? They're not yellow?
No,
I feel like I'm an idiot.
No, I actually had that happen in real life, where we were at a restaurant that had a flounder in its little pond, or little like it was in San Diego, so it was like an ocean pond. And this girl's like, "Yeah, I never know what that flat thing is." I was like, "It's a flounder." She goes, "But flounders are like triangular and yellow." And I said, "No, that's just because flounders would be really ugly to look at as children."
I mean, yeah, I feel so stupid. Cool.
You shouldn't. I only know this because like I don't know why I know know what flounders look like. I think maybe like going to like the Monterey Bay Aquarium so much in my life. Like they're like, this is a flounder. And you're like, that doesn't look like Little Mermaid.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Well, if you feel dumb like me, hugs. It's fine. We're learning today. Okay. So there's a specific individual named Lauren Coleman, and he is a veteran cryptozoologist and the director of the International Cryptozoology Museum in Portland, Maine, and has researched and investigated this creature for years. So it's been a long time since anyone has seen Cassie. The last sighting was reported in 1958 by an 81-year-old fisherman named Ole Mickelson. And Lauren has actually sat down with this fisherman and they talked about it. And basically, he told Lauren that on a day in June of 1958, when he and his first mate were fishing off the coast of Cape Elizabeth, this is when they saw Cassie. He said that they suddenly saw a large serpent-like creature colored like a flounder swimming towards them. And he said that every time the foghorn would go off, the creature would turn its head oh so slightly and then would go along. He said it was just living its life right in front of them. And I'm like, well, yeah, because you're playing this loud ass horn. So she's probably like, okay, bitch, got it. I'm leaving. Bye. Or you're bothering me, so I'm leaving. Long time, hasn't been any more sightings, but apparently Maine has their version of Nessie, so I love that.
Every time I think of Nessie, I just think of like how they've debunked a lot of the quote unquote Nessie sightings as whale penises, and I'm just like, so you stared at a penis for a really long time.
Oh my God. All right. Our next one is called Tote Road Shagamaw. Now, according to Fearsome Creatures, this cryptid is a beast unique to Maine and New Brunswick. It's said that this puzzling creature reportedly has the front quarters of a bear and the hind quarters of a moose, which I'm like, logistically, holy shit, that would suck. Even more oddly, Lumberjacks claims that it would walk for a quarter mile on its front legs and then stop and switch to its hind legs for another quarter mile. Get tired, I guess. So, you know.
With like handstands?
Yeah, doing a handstand walk for a quarter mile. That's pretty impressive.
A long time.
Yeah.
Good shoulder? Yeah.
Which this doesn't make any sense to me, but apparently with this legend, loggers reasoned that the animal was unable to count above 440, which was how many of its steps would take in a quarter mile. Hence its need to switch every quarter mile. Nah, fam, they're just tired. You try to do a handstand walk for over a quarter mile. Like, it ain't gonna happen.
Oh, the fuck? They think, I'm sorry. These loggers think this creature is counting how many steps it's taking. And then going,
I can't count no more. Gotta start over.
Well, as I got to the end of my numbers, I'm gonna flip it. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Right? I'm like,
right?
It's so random. I'm like,
because he knows that like 344, like, you know, it's like it's the next number, right? Mm-hmm. Logic would be like, well, I know the next number because I know the one before. That's a thing a lot for like a cryptid. Like that is the dumbest thing.
For real. I'm like, okay. And they like to just, you know, chill in the woods. So I'm like, okay, Maine. Okay, got you.
Handstand accountant bitch.
Right. Oh my God.
What is happening?
So we have another cryptid that has to do with water. Okay. So this one's called the Bildad. So the area we're going to is called Boundary Pond. This is described as a remote body of water located in the far northwest corner of Franklin County, about 11 miles from Quebec, which is said to be an area that doesn't get a lot of human visitors. Oh. Lumberjacks, again, they spill in all the tea. The story goes that if you heard something surfacing from beneath the water, it's almost certainly a bildad. Yet another odd-looking animal. It's about the size of a beaver, but looks more like a kangaroo with webbed feet and a hawk's bill. Basically, when I read about that one, they were saying like a kangaroo and a platypus had a baby is like the best way to describe that. Not literally, but like that's what it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. According to Fearsome Creatures, it fishes from a perch on a rock, diving into the water for fish, obviously, to bring to the surface to stun with its tail. It can supposedly hop a whopping 60 yards in one bound, which is more than 3 times the length a real kangaroo can jump.
Stop it.
Right? According to legend, a bildad was killed on Boundary Pond and was brought to a logging camp where a cook made a slumgillen stew from it. The only person brave enough to eat it was a man named Bill Murphy, who took took one taste, bolted from the camp, hopped 50 yards into a nearby lake, much like the build-out itself, and drowned.
Hopped into.
He yeeted himself from life because it tasted so bad, I guess.
Fun fact, do you know that kangaroos are really vicious and they will actually
scary.
They'll drown you?
Dude, kangaroos are so scary. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to lie to everybody and make them cute in cartoon form, but real kangaroos are terrifying looking.
There's a whole thing where kangaroos will swim out into a pond and then pretend to be in distress so that you as a compassionate person will go out and try to save said kangaroo, and then it fucking drowns you.
No way. Mm-mm.
And
maybe it's just a kangaroo. Maybe the build-out's just a kangaroo that somehow ended up in Maine.
And then they fucking ate it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I looked up what.
Oh my God. No. What if the Bildad had a whole Bildad family and then it's like spouse or sibling or something saw that these humans captured it, killed it, ate it. So then when this dummy went into the water, they drowned the person that ate them.
I'm here for this story. Oh my God.
I think it's like the Bildad's revenge. I'm going to write a short story, guys.
By the way, this picture of the Bildad is like the cutest thing I've ever seen. Like,
oh my gosh. I know.
Look at his eyes.
Yeah, I saw that one.
So cute. No, that's just, I'm over here like, we don't need cryptids. We have kangaroos.
Literally. There's enough
terrifying.
Stuff. Yeah, right? There's enough scary stuff.
Do you want to go to Australia? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to see a kangaroo.
Right. I don't want to be outside. Thank you. No. So our next one is called the agropelter. This is described as one of the most fearsome beasts in Maine, and this is one not to be trifled with. So the agropelter is found in most of the northern woods of North America. This is described as a wiry, long-limbed creature who looks more like an ape or a monkey with muscular, whip-like front arms that uses it to tear limbs from trees and hurl them at prey and unsuspecting loggers.
What are you doing in Maine, loggers, that you have all these cryptids coming at you?
They're bombarding their home and killing the trees. It's like Ferngully, but worse.
Honestly, like, I'm like, what mushroom are you all consuming?
Right? I'm like, just say you had like you're a dumbass who had a tree fall on someone and now you're going to blame this poor agropelter. Like, what is wrong with you?
I honestly think most of these stories coming out of Maine are just like these loggers who are like breathing in psilocybin spores from like magic mushrooms that are like, and they're just fucking hallucinating.
Oh my God, I love this. There's more to our agropelter. So the agropelter is said to be renowned for its incredible aim and ability to bonk lumberjacks directly on the noggin. Sometimes resulting in a goose egg, sometimes resulting in death.
Wait, did they say that? Or
yeah, the article.
Okay. I was like, that's a scale. That's like from a bump to from a goose egg to death.
Yeah. So they'll get pissed off and kill lumberjacks, right? But they don't eat humans. So their diet is very, very minimal. Apparently, they only eat owls and woodpeckers. Very specific.
just two types of birds.
It's like a picky kid who only likes chicken. Yeah.
You know what's really interesting too is that this is okay. I'm diving into this one.
That's okay.
And my conspiracy theorist side is coming out today. The loggers are like the ones who are like, there's this agropelter. The two birds that it consumes are the two birds that cause issues for loggers, because owls, like especially if they're endangered, make it so that you can't harvest trees. And then woodpeckers, I'm assuming, are pesky because they're like in the way of what you're trying to cut down. I highly suspect, sir. I don't believe your super high self.
But see, if this is true, the flip side could be that, you know, while they are grabbing these limbs and stuff, they just need a little snack, and woodpeckers are what's there.
I mean, that's true. And the owls would be right there.
And the owls, yeah. Poor owls, poor woodpeckers.
Also, this is why TikTok shouldn't go away. I recently learned that owls sleep laying down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's totally weird. Like they will lay down on branches. And I was like,
oh, I just assumed they were like a bat, just chilled. I don't even just right side up, I guess. I don't know.
I mean,
I never thought about it
because like other birds, like but they don't. You have to look it up because it's not like how a normal bird like lays down. What you're thinking, it's kind of like a toddler that just gave up on life. They're just like,
see, that's what I pictured, just like laying flat on its side, just like, I'm so tired, I'm just gonna keel over right now. Be back.
Pretty much. And I was like, owls do what? Oh, I don't like birds, but I was like, I kind of like the owl now because it's funny.
Right? Oh my God, no. You know what? Every time I think of an owl, I'm like so traumatized. Did you in middle school ever have to dissect their like
poop? Their pellet?
A pellet? Yeah. Gross.
I had an owl poop on me.
Ew.
For 4 years in a row at my elementary school.
Why were you around an owl close enough for it to poop on you?
So my school had this like arrangement with like a rehabilitation center, and they would like bring birds that were like, ones that probably wouldn't be rehabilitated because they've had like too much trauma, and they would bring them and like show them to us. And there was this owl they would bring, and I think I just caused it to always poop. It didn't like me, and it pooped on my shoe 5 times or 4 or 5 times. Birds and I don't fuck with birds. Like, no. It's really funny because my coworkers didn't believe me until I was like, Tara knows like it's like any kind of bird. I like freak out. We were at breakfast and there was a pigeon, and I was like sitting there so tense. My coworker was like, are you gonna produce a diamond? Like, you're so just like stressed. I was like, yeah, because there's a fucking bird under our table and I'm trying not to have a fucking meltdown right now. Like, do you want to? I was like, I want to cry because there's a bird under the table. And it was like, you're really that afraid of birds? I'm like, yes, it's not made up. It's irrational. I know.
No, that's not. You've been hit in the face by a bird. You've been pooped on by a bird. That's very logical why you would not like them. You're valid.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's enough of cryptids, but I have a couple urban legend ghosty stories for us. Yeah. So the first one is called The Wishing Well, and I am so sorry, Maine listeners, in Satabus, Maine. Okay, we're going to go with that. So the story goes, a group of teens dared their friend to go down into the well. He sat on top of a rubber tire on a rope and was lowered down. He was released lower and lower until his friends could no longer see or hear him. Then things became eerily quiet. They also noticed there was no movement. The teen boys ended up pulling the rope back up to notice that their friend was not the friend that they saw a few minutes ago. His speech was impaired and he wasn't making any sense. They quickly realized his hair had turned white and his face had the essence of an older man. So he like immediately aged. Oh. It is said that he had gone completely insane. Due to the myth, this particular boy was never the same again. He was put into an asylum, and you can hear his screams from the room he's still trapped in at the asylum.
Dang. Don't put your friends in wells. Like, what the fuck?
Especially if you've ever watched any kind of horror movie of any kind, there's no good news from a well.
No. It's either where they hide something with like poisonous snakes on top of it, or there's a demon in it. Don't
or a dead body,
or both,
or all three. You get everything. Yeah. Like if this is The Ring, you get all the things. So you know. All right, our next one is the tomb of Colonel Jonathan Buck. So Colonel Jonathan Buck founded the town of Bucksport. The woman he fell in love with then became pregnant with the son, and Buck sent both the mother and the child away, forcing her to raise the child on her own. Oh, so was she a side piece while you were exploring, bitch? That's what I'm thinking.
Colonel Buck.
Right? And now, of course, in any time period, raising a child's expensive. So according to the story, she asked Buck for financial assistance, and he didn't give them a cent.
Dick.
Furthermore, he gets worse. In order to make sure to force her not to come back and ask anything from him again, Buck told everybody she was a witch. Of course he did. And of course, this is like way back when, during all of that kind of stuff. And this resulted in her being burned at the stake.
Buck, you a dick.
Literally, hugest dick ever. Now, here's also an interesting part to the story. It said that while she was being burned, her son, which I don't know how old he was at this point, stole her leg and fled the scene so he could bury his mother's body in the ground to try to save her soul.
Aww.
Isn't that so sad?
It's so sad. And like such a sweet son with a dick of a dad.
So, also weird coincidence to wrap this little one up. Years later, once Buck finally died and he was like buried and all of that, under his tomb was a stain in the form of a leg. And not once, but twice, it came back.
Oh.
The tomb was even changed, and that stain still came back. And if you visit his tomb today, this leg stain's still there.
It's amazing.
Right? She's like, you're not going to forget me. Not in life, not in death.
That means like she haunting him in real life after death.
I love
She's
this.
found him and tormenting him.
As she should. Okay, so now we're going to go over to Camden, Maine, and we're going to talk about Maiden Cliff. The story goes that the day was windy and a woman was taking in the views of the scenic water in front of her when her hat blew off. What must she have been pondering about in those moments? Was she gazing on the beauty that Maine's nature was presenting her? Was she thinking about her family? A long-lost love? Well, we don't know. What we do know is, after her hat blew off, she tried to catch it. As she reached for her hat, she fell straight off an 800-foot cliff.
Ma'am.
The tale, oddly enough, says that it's not proven if she died on impact or was taken to the hospital. If you're going to fall that high into water, you're dead. I'm sorry, it's cement at that point.
Jesus Christ.
But you can actually visit this spot because where her body hit the water, or the area where it hit, is now marked by a white cross. So you can visit her.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Also, no hat is worth that.
No.
I just love this speculation of what she must have been thinking about. And I'm pretty sure it was my hat.
Literally, poor lady. And now to wrap us up, I have one more story. It's called The Couple of Haynesville. Because we can't have a story without a newlywed couple. We can't have an Urban Legends episode without one. So this legend goes that a newlywed couple was driving and they lost control of the car because the groom had been partying a little too hard, aka was drunk driving after their reception. They were both in a horrible accident with a telephone pole, and instantly the groom died. The bride, though, just barely crawled out of the wreckage during this cold winter night to try to survive, waiting in her dirty wedding gown for some traveler to drive by and rescue her on the worst night of her life. It is said that she waited so long alone in the cold that she froze to death. And now, when travelers drive down the road, they claim to see a woman in a wedding gown waving down cars for help. But when you stop to help her out, she disappears.
I thought this was going in a different direction, and it's kind of fucked up. I thought it was because she like froze to death on the road because she crawled onto the road. I was gonna be like, is she a speed bump?
Oh my God. That's how she stops you? Jesus Christ. No.
Like last minute you see her and you hit it and like you go over it, but then you get out and there's nothing there. And you're like, what the fuck?
No, apparently she just flags people down, and yeah, that's that.
Oh, I have notes for her.
Get in the car.
Get in the car, but like lay down, be a speed bump. Be different. Be a different bride on the side of the road.
Oh, yes. I love that. Scare people. Use your haunting abilities.
If you've gleaned anything from hauntings, be like Kate from the Bell Witch. Be a little bit terrifying, but just a little. So that people are like, I can't fucking, you know what? Be so uniquely terrifying that people are like, I can't share this story. No one will fucking believe me.
Ooh, I like that. I like it. I love that we ended this episode on a little bit of feminine rage, even if we just made it up. But, you know, that's the fun with Urban Legends. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have a state request, take a look at what ones we've done and let us know on socials or the Facebook group or now Discord. Maybe I'll bump up a state. Right now, I'm just kind of randomly picking them, but it's a lot of fun. I like it. But with that, we'll go ahead and wrap things up and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Toodles.